welcome to another exciting episode of the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown for the week of March 19th, 2018. My name is Trey, this is Full Spectrum, and let's get started. We start off this week with Ziga 1, Nightmare to Reality. This is a really cool series. I like the idea of it a lot. There's some weird stuff here, which is the common thing of this main character is good at everything he tries, and you guys know that I hate that. I really hate it when the main character's the best at everything he tries to do. But in this case, it looks like it's because he's actually like super powered, and that makes sense. Also, he doesn't have a lot of faith in himself. He really needs Amagi, this girl that he kind of has a thing for, to tell him how to feel about things, which also shows that he definitely has some problems. And spoilers for how this first chapter turns out, but when Amagi is killed in this rampage of this beast, Ziga, this giant kaiju, it's going to definitely change how he has to approach things. You also have the introduction of characters like Tinshiro Bano, who very much looks like Char, but crazier, and I'm super down for that. I love his design a lot. We get to see the military trying to fight off Ziga. We get to see the test that happens between him and that female soldier that attacks him. Adra wasn't able to do anything to fight Ziga because the military wanted to do it, and the military couldn't stand up to Ziga at all. It's also really cool that Ko is having these dreams about Ziga, and he doesn't understand why, but they always really frighten him. And, now we know it's because the dreams were trying to warn him that Ziga was going to come destroy his town. Or at least destroy big chunks of it. Ziga is awesome. The creature, for a kaiju, he pulls a lot of Godzilla stuff. He's stomping around, he's knocking stuff over. But he also can fire a disintegration ray just for biological matter from his hands. It obliterates people, but everything else is fine. And I don't know where that's coming from. It could be an alien creation that made Ziga, but most likely it's going to go with the, what's it called? The natural disaster style. Like, Godzilla doesn't hate the world, he just hates people. And, over the years he mellowed out and defended the Earth. But the point was, originally, he was mad at people. Because humans were destroying the Earth. And because the atomic bomb. But, both of them. But, the fact that Ziga has a weapon designed specifically to kill people and not to destroy the environment makes me think that that's probably what it's going to wind up being. At the same time, though, Ziga looked sick. And that scene of Ko finding Amagi's arm separated from her body because she had been crushed. That's a really powerful scene, even though most of us could probably figure out that Amagi was going to die from the get-go. It was really well done. I liked it a lot. The scream that Ko has, where he remarks that it's like the scream of a beast, and how well it lines up with the roar of victory that Ziga has for the destruction he caused right before he vanishes in a super awesome way. Was really cool. And the fact that Ziga took a swing at Ko to start things off. They're connected. You also have the whole thing of, Bano talking about flash waves. And that's what he's called them. It's the psychokinetic energy that Ko has. And how it connects him with the monster and that keening sound that he can hear when danger's coming. It feels very new type-ish, and I love that. Absolutely love that. So, quantum brain waves, flash waves, same difference, basically, right? I'm excited for more Ziga. It's probably going to be a series that I keep going with even after it's out of Jump, but it's really good so far. After that, we have Robot Laserbeam 49, The Curtain Rises. We learn a bit about the 5 courses in the tournament. Ginro and Robo get the Mountainous course. Of course they do, because Okuma wants Robo to lose, and he's rigging everything so Robo gets the toughest courses and the toughest opponents. Ginro will go up against Robo first, obviously, and that's all he cares about. He doesn't care about the rest of the tournament. Right now, he just wants to focus on beating Robo. We get to see that this first shot is going to be a very difficult one for Robo, because there's only a very small spot that is flat on the range that he's going to be shooting on, where it will land in a flat area and not roll anywhere so that he can set up his next shot. We also see Robo line it up, take the shot, and turn around to start talking to Takumi Takuya, because he knew it was going to hit, and it absolutely does, which fires Genro up. All in all, this was a pretty good setup chapter. It was really to talk to us about the courses, to let us know that Okuma was still, rigging things against Robo, and to show that Robo is more than ready to face the challenge that Okuma and Genro give. So, it was a really good chapter. I enjoyed it. Next up, we have One Piece 898, I Will Return. The German Double Six are standing strong under the hail of bullets, and both Reiju and Ichiji call Sanji by his name, which is really cool. Because, normally the others were calling him Failure, so that's really nice. While the Big Mom Pirates struggle to figure out what's going on, Sanji tells Jinbei to swing by at full speed, and he'll jump on. He'll return with Luffy. It's really interesting that he chose that phrasing, too, because that really makes me feel like that was Oda saying, when Sanji gets back to the crew, he's not going anywhere again for a while. That's nice. This was supposed to have come from the year of Sanji, which was last year, and Sanji took a lot of L's, but we learned a lot about Sanji, and he got to do a lot of stuff, even if he hasn't really won a single big fight since then, and has been rescued constantly by people. At the same time, he has been there for his crew the whole time. Him and Luffy had that really powerful fight. Then him and Luffy had that really powerful scene where he brought the food to Luffy when Luffy was refusing to go anywhere until Sanji brought him food. Like, this whole arc, I feel like people get hung up on the moment-to-moment of the arc and don't remember the good stuff that's happened. And again, there's been some really slow moments in this arc. It reminds me a lot of Dressrosa in that way, in that there are some times where Dressrosa got really slow. But at the same time, Dressrosa also had some really good high points, and I think Whole Cake Island does as well. We'll see how the arc turns out at the end. I do not think that it is okay to get onto people for not being happy with how the story's going, though, because, all of us really seem to like Sanji for the most part. Sanji's a really likable character, and he cannot seem to get to do anything on his own. It's really kind of frustrating. And this chapter's not really much different, because when Sanji takes out some nameless mooks while carrying Luffy, which is pretty cool, he kind of has to get rescued by the rest of the German Double Six. At the same time, I really like the German Double Six. I love their design. I love the stuff they can do. I actually like that they were against Sanji at the start, and now they're having to help him. That's really cool, in my opinion. And now they're wearing their raid suits, so they're back to peak strength, basically. There's this wonderful moment while all this is happening, and it's again, with all the complaints that I have about this part of the arc and about how long it's gone on, almost all of that for me was worth it with this one moment, which is where Brule tells everybody that Luffy absolutely, no matter what, cannot escape because he beat Katakuri. And all of the Big Mom Pirates stop for a second and are shocked. They have no clue how Luffy did it, but Brule is clear that it was not a trick. He did not escape. He beat Katakuri. And everybody's like, shocked, just blown away. That very quickly is followed by rage. But when the rage comes in and Oven tries to claim Luffy's head, Ichiji sparkling Valkyries Oven, which, honestly, I thought, okay, well, Oven's down. No, he gets back up in a little bit and is on his feet again and doing stuff. This is the man that, got shot by Bege, got run over by Bege, and then, he's still going. He got hit right in the back of the head by Pound. He's now been stabbed through by Ichiji. He's still going. Oven is tough. So then, Yonji saves him. And then, Niji launches him into the sky, still calling him a failure. And it all, rounds out with Reiju rescuing him. And we see her telling him to run again from his first escape, a flashback. We get to see that interpose in the panel, And it seems like she's basically telling him to run again. She's reliving those memories while telling him to get out of here. And now she's doing it as the older sister that doesn't have to hide that she cares about him, really. And we see Sanji is almost there. He's almost free. And there's literally a moment where he's like, we're almost there. Which, of course, means that probably they'll get stopped on the way. But, still really enjoyed this chapter. Despite the fact that Sanji didn't really get to do much. I mean, at one point he gets shot in, the arm as he's running. And that's not great. But, yeah. Sanji's still Sanji. He's still doing work. He's still fighting back. He's still being tough. Still trying to get Luffy to safety. I love Sanji. I wish he'd got one good fight somewhere in this arc. He got to do some really cool stuff. He made that awesome cake, but I wish he'd got to do one fight at least. But we'll see. I mean, he did try to fight back against Judge, so that was pretty cool. But we'll see how it goes in the next couple chapters. Next up, we have My Hero Academia 175, Morning, the day of. We can see the gang still practicing. A curfew hits. It's time to go home. Deku needs to get a new rope because he's worried that the rope will snap while he's trying to move Aoyama around. This leads him to having to take an extra trip the morning of the festival. May finishes his new gloves, and All Might's pretty impressed with them. And if you'll remember why it's important that Deku is going to be in town, it's that his trip to going in town, or to come back from town to get the rope, will cross paths with Gentle, who had his whole thing laid out, and who never considered that maybe a UA student would be coming through that way. They both figure out who the other is pretty quickly. Deku figures out it's Gentle from the YouTube videos, and Gentle figures out that this is a student from UA. And Gentle tries to make a quick retreat, but Deku stops him and demands that he stay away from his school while thinking about Eri and everybody trying so hard for the festival. And he refuses to let Gentle get in the way of this festival. He's going to stop them. And I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed that aspect of the chapter because it immediately made me think of Deku running into Shigaraki in the mall and how powerless Deku was in that moment and how much more powerful he is here, where he just calmly sets the bags down and gets ready to fight. So, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. There's also a fun little gag of Gentle calling La Brava La Honey and her forgetting that's supposed to be her name. So that was really fun. So, yeah, this was a pretty good chapter. It was a setup chapter, but it was a really fun setup chapter. So, Next up, we have Noah's Notes 2, Adventure in the Ruins of Minato Mirai. We get to see Kotobuki being very curious, and Noah explaining that paper and digital media won't last anywhere near long enough for them to get any data from them. She finds a snake, and this leads to Noah to talking about all the life in the area, and that it's a Yang Li-style cave, by the by, I just want to mention, I love these descriptions that Noah gives in all these chapters, where he talks about all this stuff. Even if I already know about some of the stuff, it's still super cool to see it brought up, so that's always fun. While all this description is happening, though, a giant owl grabs Kotobuki. Noah catches her after he shines a flashlight to make the owl let go of her, and explains how the owl has thrived here. It's got prey, and that they are prey now, because of the biggest things that have come through in a while, and then he has a theory. And this theory, of course, is to let the owl take them back to its nest, and then shine the flashlight in its eye again. While they're there, because the nest is a reclused, not recluse, that's not the word, recessed area, that's the word. We're getting there, it's very late. A recessed area, they're able to find a journal that survived all of the weather. It didn't survive it well, but it's there, and they're able to read some stuff and find out that it was from the year 2022. And as they're reading through it, they get to see some hints, and Kotobuki realizes that everything about this loop theory must be true. Noah then explains the Big Seven, which are the 7 pervasive theories as to what happened with the loop, why it occurred at all. The first one being war, the second being an epidemic, the third being an environmental, the fourth being a natural disaster, the fifth being a tech storm, the sixth being a cosmic catastrophe, and the 7th being an invasion by unknown organisms. Noah also talks about how that's going down in order of the most possible, but that none of them have been written out yet, because any of them are possible. What I think is really cool about listing off these 7 is that over the course of the story, I feel like we will start discounting some of these. We'll have evidence that makes us say, well, no, it's not this one. And I want to see which one it winds up being. That's really cool. I mean, I'm into this mystery. Noah then proclaims that he'll save the world for his research. He's not going to save the world because it's the right thing to do or because he wants to protect humanity. But it's for his research. And, of all people, that's actually a really good reason for a character like Noah. Kotobuki realizes that she's curious too now. She wants to know what's going on. She wants to stop it from happening so that she can still have her wedding, so she can still get married and have her life that she's planned for. And so she asks Noah to keep teaching her, and he agrees. So again, Noah's Notes, really fun story. It moves very quickly. It covers a lot of ground. It's just a blast. And, I like it. Looking forward to more. Next up is The Promised Neverland 79. Everything put in the one shot. 1 shot each for Nos and Noma, 2 for Luvis, and 1 for Bayan. We'll see how well that goes. Nos and Noma set off the traps on purpose, and the kids wait for them on purpose. When the 2 demons get right on top of them, they set off a flashbang, then fire the special guns. It breaks the masks of both Nos and Noma. Very well shot. Very well. Very good job. But the demons almost immediately counterattack. Sorry, it's very late. I'm trying to stay awake. Nos Nos can't get his target because he jumps away. But Sonya celebrates a little too quickly, and Noma grabs her. While Noma revels in the hunt, and how she's excited that the kids have been able to do this, and now she just wants to play with them, she gets taken out by Paula with a sniper round, which... Oh, alright, Paula, that's a great shot. Because that's not an easy target to hit. Nos goes nuts. I was like, oh, here we go. He's about to run Sonya through. But instead, he grabs a hold of Noma and holds her while he cries. The kids need to take advantage of this now and kill Nos. Because if they don't, he's probably going to kill all 3 of them. All 4 of them. We'll see. After that, we see the thing that hyped me up the most this chapter, which is Luvis confronting Emma in the streets. Face to face. Time to fight. Oh, I'm so excited for that fight. After that, we have Jujutsu Kaisen 3 for myself. We get to see Itadori's new school, and Sukuna can form a mouth on Itadori's body, on his cheek, and on his hand. It's cool. It's also very creepy. Itadori asks Satoru if Sukuna could beat him, and he says that he would win. Satoru doesn't. He wouldn't lose. He wouldn't lose. We meet Yaga, who reveals Satoru's habit of being late, but not too late. 8 minutes late, to be precise. Then we see that Yaga makes dolls, which is pretty cool. He doesn't really like Itadori's reasons for why he wants to gather all of Sukuna. So then he puts him in a pinch by attacking him with his cursed corpse doll, Kathy. Eventually, Itadori explains that he can't just let Sukuna do as it pleases, and that he isn't going to regret the way he lives. Yaga's satisfied with that. And Satoru wants to use Yuji as a radar to find the Sukuna pieces, which is pretty smart. And Yuji's room is next door to Fushiguro's. It's time to go get the final first year. So, Jujutsu Kaisen has now finished its Jumpstart run in Jump. I do not think I will be continuing to read Jujutsu Kaisen. I might keep tabs on it, see what people are saying, see if something really cool happens. I may catch up. There's some really cool ideas. Sukuna being able to pop up anywhere on Itadori's body. That's Dojin material right there, and that'll happen, unfortunately. But, I like Satoru a lot. Itadori's okay. Yuji, he's alright. Fushiguro is a lot of fun. I really liked his curse with the wolves and everything. I just don't really feel like there's a lot of movement in the story, and maybe it's just moving slow right now, but it feels like it's going to be a while before it gets good. It reminds me a lot of the start of Blue Exorcist, but Blue Exorcist had that whole thing of, like, dad's in trouble, gotta fight, and then immediately after that it kind of just dove into the school aspect, and I'm kind of afraid this is going to do the same thing. Now, Blue Exorcist has got to a place where there's some really cool stuff going on, and I'm glad I'm reading it. I mean, again, I'll keep saying it. The chapter that we got the end of last year, was it the end of last year? Where Yukio pulled a gun on himself. Like, that's still one of the best chapters that Blue Exorcist has ever had. And if Jujutsu Kaisen can pull some of that stuff, like, yeah, that'd be great. But as it is right now, I don't really see myself continuing with it. But let me know in the comments below if you want me to keep reading it. I will. And if you guys are enjoying it, let me know. Because maybe you can sway me. I'm always down to read manga. Next up, we have Dr. Stone 50, Humanity's Greatest Weapon. So, man, this is a fun chapter. This is a really fun chapter. We flash back to Hyoga waking up and being a boss, like he always is, because he's Hyoga. We also get to see more members of Tsukasa's group and their stone fortress. We see Tsukasa recruiting Hyoga, and we also get to see a girl that has feelings for Tsukasa, it seems like. Tsukasa and Hyoga are in agreement. Senku must die. The new world is for the young and not for the old, and only if they have power can they stop the old members of the world, the older people, from having control of it. We also get to see Hyoga's report, where he tells Tsukasa Senku is alive. We find out that Kahaku wants to attack right away, but Senku wants to build a new weapon first. He says it's time for cell phones? Communication's key, yes, I get that. It's absolutely vitally important. But cell phones is a bit of a stretch. Senku, maybe we could go for radios? The town is split between Team Grumble and Team Excited. And Senku talks about how if they have the phones, with the spies they already have in Tsukasa's kingdom, then they'll have all the knowledge they need to be able to win. These spies, of course, are Taiju and Yuzuriha, which it would be really cool to see them again. I liked Taiju as much as I think that Senku is a much better protagonist for the series. Senku lays out the roadmap, and when Gen tries to tell him it won't be that easy, Senku is determined. So there's a couple things here. One of the biggest things I saw people talking about with this chapter is Tsukasa's hypocrisy. That's okay. It's okay for Tsukasa to be a hypocrite, because Tsukasa isn't the most mentally sound character already. He clearly believes in power, and power above all else. But he believes that this is his chance to have the world he wanted the old world to be. And that's okay for him to be a hypocrite about this. I see some people complaining because, oh, well, it's stupid for him to turn down science completely. He should know how useful science is. It's like, well, yeah. But we also see in this chapter that Tsukasa's group is not just big and strong people, because that girl who's laying on the mat up there doesn't really seem like the tough type. It doesn't seem like she does a lot of fighting. We also see a bunch of people just working. So Tsukasa's group is not just an army of muscleheads. There are some clever people there, and there are some people that know how to get other people to do their jobs for them. Which means that Tsukasa isn't just raising, like, a primeval society. Tsukasa is trying to build an empire, where he's in charge. And whether he realizes that's what he's doing, or not, it honestly makes him a far more interesting character to me than the guy who's just gathering up strong people to lay claim to this world and be able to prove that the strength is where it all is. Because it's not just about strength for him, clearly, whether he realizes that or not. And I think that's far more interesting. I really want a moment where Senku calls him out on this dichotomy, and to see how he reacts to it, because Hyoga also doesn't seem to notice the dichotomy of it. Bringing back people that don't have any point in the fighting is basically useless in a world where strength is all that matters. But there's multiple kinds of strength, and Senku's knowledge of science is a strength. So, a world based around just strength is automatically hypocritical, because who gets to define strength? In the same way, Senku's world of science is kind of hypocritical as well, because Senku's goal is to give everybody access to science. But who gets to say who gets access to what? Because obviously, eventually, you're going to get back to atomic bombs and hydrogen bombs. That doesn't make them bad characters, though. And I think that's something that people really need to understand. Because you can be a flawed character and have some flaws in your logic and not be a bad character. People always go, oh, well, the dream, I'm going to be the Pirate King, right? That's the one people always call back on with Luffy. Luffy's not going, I'm going to be the Pirate King as long as things are easy. He's going, I'm going to be the Pirate King no matter what it takes. No matter how many strong, tough people I have to fight, I'm going to team up with my crew and I'm going to be the Pirate King. And that's also where Tsukasa and Senku are at. They just don't truly, just like Luffy didn't at the start, truly understand what this means. So, I'm excited to see how it continues to go. I want to know where things go and if Tsukasa ever gets called out on this dichotomy, because I love it so much. Next up, we have We Never Learned 55, the express words of X as a diversion. We start off with Asumi declaring her love to Yuiga in the I Love You game, which is actually a game that I have seen played before, and it's very weird. I don't understand the appeal of it, but people do it. Asumi's very good at it, and the maid cafe uses it to get some money. The game is gaining ground at school as well, and Omori challenges them, and Ogata accepts it, because she loves a good challenge. She beats Omori easily, and then declares that she's going to challenge Yuiga, but finds that she can't really say the words to Yuiga. Kashima and the others show up and declare it is Furuhashi's turn, because they want to help Furuhashi get closer to Yuiga as well. She also gives, because she can't say it either, though more out of a desire to not say it in front of the other two that are also going for Yuiga. Furuhashi is a good friend, even though she has developed the same feelings for Yuiga. It's also interesting to note that by this point, all three girls are not only calling him Naruyuki, they're also thinking of him as Naruyuki, which is really cool. I like that. Uruka is next, and she's excited because now it's Yuiga's turn to say it, but he falters, and he can't say it, and this upsets Uruka because she wanted to take advantage of this moment. Takamoto wanted to get to hear him say I love you, and she doesn't get that. Yuiga takes a penalty, which is that he has to play the I love you game with the next person to walk through the door, which is Kurisu. Best girl walks in, and Yuiga does it. He doesn't hold back. My man Yuiga, he tells her that he loves her. She looks very dangerous when she tells him to see him to see her after school. He explains everything, and she understands it well enough, but tells Yuiga that a teacher and a student have no business saying those words to each other. She also avoids saying them herself while talking about the game. He definitely understands this. He apologizes. He went too far. Asks if it's inappropriate for him to be cleaning her apartment. She tells him that those are two completely different things. Clearly, while she looks out the window and doesn't want to look him in the eye. This was a really fun chapter. There was a lot of fun gags here. Takamoto not getting to hear Yuiga say I love you. Ogata and Furuhashi not being able to say it. Ogata being just completely wooden when she says it to Omori, but he still, gets all excited about it anyway. The best moment for me, though, has to be when Yuiga tells Kurisu he loves her, and we see the, confession background pop up behind her of, all the little light orbs dancing around them, and I was like, what? Hold on, that's very different from the way this is played out with every other one of these. So, maybe she does feel something for Yuiga. I mean, we knew that she kind of already respected him, but maybe she feels a little something for him. Also, I couldn't help but wonder, did she spend the rest of the day wondering about how she was going to tell Yuiga she couldn't reciprocate his feelings because she's a student, or she's a teacher and he's a student, only to realize it was a game and realize she didn't have to use any of that? The idea of Kurisu just sitting in an office going, is amazing to me. I love that so much. So yeah, this is a really fun chapter. After that, we have Food Wars 255, Those Who Wander the Wilderness. We see more of Azami and Tsukasa, and how Azami won him over in their flashbacks. We also get to see them just hanging out, and honestly having a good time. A lot of people have been asking, why is Tsukasa on Azami's side? Azami gets him. And yeah, Azami's using him, we all know that. But Azami gets him. So it makes sense. We also see Azami reel him in with the talk of the divine tongue and how a recipe can be followed and the divine tongue is the recipe they need. Rendo's dish comes up, and oh boy, it's a doozy. It is almost perfect, you could say, and it has a interesting tang that nobody can quite place. She explains that it's formic acid from ant venom, which, yes, can be consumed and can be put into food. In great amounts, it will kill you, but a little bit, it's okay. If you don't know what you're doing with it, don't cook with it, but obviously Rindo does. So, it's fine. Her appetizer has drawn them in, and Tsukasa capitalizes on this with his specialty dish. So next chapter we'll get the White Knight of the table. We'll get his dish. And that'll be very interesting. Next up we have Hunter x Hunter 378, Balance. We see Unyor and Brocco Lee. What is this, One Piece? Talking down the Phantom Troop. And wanting to capture Hisoka. It's my new favorite shirt, by the way. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. My Hisoka shirt. We also see Morena Prudo gifting abilities to her followers. Her ability is Contagion, and it's extremely dangerous. Basically, it makes everyone a RPG character. Everybody that she gives this power to. And they gain the ability to level up by killing people and stealing their life force, basically. I assume is the way that it works. It just gives them XP. If they reach 100 points, or if they reach 50 points, they get an ability. Like they get their own new ability, a unique one for them. And if they reach 100 points, then they become a new carrier of Contagion and can make their own followers and make a community of up to 23 people at a time, including the user. It's a very powerful ability. It's a very dangerous ability. And it seems like her plan is to use this confusion to amass power and change things. She's an illegitimate daughter, just as Unyor and Brocco Lee are illegitimate sons. And this is the way that she can still win this whole competition, even though she's not allowed to run for it if her people take over. Meanwhile, Feitan, Finks, and Nobunaga plan to recover some items from Tier 4. The three of them see a body materialize behind them, and a member of Morena's group is stalking them, who just recently got to level 21 by killing 20 civilians. This is going to snowball quickly, but thankfully the Phantom Troop's here, and even though they're not heroes, they also don't really like it when people run wild and mess with them, and it seems like, much to Morena's problem, that one of her people has already found them and wants to play with them. So, I really feel like the Phantom Troop's probably going to wind up taking her down, but somebody needs to, because this is dangerous. This is like Chimera Ant level of, it's going to spread and it's going to snowball if nobody stops it. And nobody stopped the ants, and they snowballed. This could snowball too. We got to make sure that doesn't happen, guys. Come on. But yeah, it's a really powerful ability. It requires you to be able to win over 23 other people, and then to be able to use them well, which we still don't know if Moreno can do, but it's still a really cool ability. I like it a lot. Also, getting to see Feitan, Finks, and Nobunaga hang out is really cool. Getting to see the fact that when Nobunaga asks about the body and where the person went, and thinks that's the big issue, that Feitan and Finks don't care. They just want to get their stuff. Finally, for the week, we have, before the lightning round, we have Black Clover 149, Reincarnation. I give Black Clover a lot of trouble for decisions that it makes. And then we talk about how much I love Black Clover for the fact that it never slows down, that it's always moving a mile a minute. This is probably my favorite Black Clover chapter in a long time. So, we get to see a flashback of Licht bringing Raya back, then Veto and Fauna, and then we get to see the Eye of the Midnight Sun members all falling apart, and the betrayal, Patchouli, and the betrayal weighing on all of the Eye of the Midnight Sun members, and how they're all not taking it well, and then they disintegrate, basically. The pieces of them crack off, and they fall to the ground, and their bodies look like they're breaking apart. And then we get to see the other ones defending the hideout also fall apart. This leads to lights falling from the sky. A light hits Gauche, a light hits Mary, a light hits Luck, a light hits Rill, and several others. which includes Klaus and Yuno, of course. Raya tells Asta the human's time is over. Asta did not get hit by one of these slides. Just want to point that out. Of course he didn't. It would have been really bad if he did. He's the main character. It wouldn't happen. But what happens then is that the former friends turn their magic on our heroes. There's a really cool panel of Ghosh summoning all the mirrors in front of Gray. And then, of course, you have Yuno turning to look at Mimosa and Klaus telling Mimosa that she's not a part of them. And they all have elf ears and they all have the markings. Klaus is still messing with his glasses. A lot of people had talked about before how this arc would probably end in some people betraying them by brainwashing. The way this was handled, where it's not did not choose specific people to brainwash. The people who had the right wavelength to be lined up with an elf brainwashed. And so, what this excites me with is that this is exactly what I wanted. Or do that thing I hate where it gets compared to Naruto. This is exactly what I wanted in the way this arc would go without even realizing it's what I wanted it to do. Because one of the coolest moments in Naruto, despite how, terribly that jutsu turns out, is bringing back all the dead. And it's such a cool moment because you're like, oh man, their friends are going to have to fight them now and they can't control it. Then of course you find out later, no, they super can just defy Kabuto like it's nothing. Point is, now we have really interesting characters on both sides. Because our heroes are split now. People that we care about are on the enemy side. Not because they want to be, but because another sentient creature is now in their body, forcing their personality down, I'm assuming, like vengeance, I would think, and taking control of them. This is not, decided he wanted power so he became a bad guy. No, this is someone else is in Yuno's body, and Yuno can't do anything about it. So this is awesome to me, because what's going to happen now is the story is basically going to take a brand new turn of, okay, we got to retreat, we got to gather our forces, we've got to go get these people back. And I think some people will die. I honestly think they will. Like, Ghosh is going to attack, and yeah, maybe Henry and Gray and them will be able to get away, but what about the people in the town? Are there other members of the Clover, like Magic Knights, that have also been taken over? Maybe other captains? Yami's from a strange land, so, he's not going to be an elf. And Asta's clearly not an elf, and Mario Leone is clearly not an elf. And I predict Fuego Leon will probably wake up soon and be on their side and probably become the new Wizard King, honestly. But these are some characters that I care about. Luck and Rill and Klaus and like, they're on the bad guy's side now. And they're going to have to fight against them and try to get them back. Well, the bad guys don't care about that. It's not a situation of, I'm going to win you over to my side, we used to be friends. It's a situation of, you're my friend, but you can't control yourself, so I have to beat you to get you back. And characters like Magna that haven't got to do anything for a while, I would love for Magna to show up and be the one that has to try and get back to Luck and bring him back. And, beat out the elf personality. And maybe they won't be able to. There's a lot of ways this could go, and I love it already. I'm so excited. So excited. I love this. So, this was a great chapter. Finally, for the lightning round. Ziga 1, Nightmare. 1 thumb up. I loved almost everything about this chapter. The only thing I didn't love was the superpowers. Even the best new types in Gundam aren't great at everything they try to do. So, Ko being great at everything because he has flash waves is not a great response, in my opinion. But maybe we'll find out later that there's a reason why he is great at everything. The flash waves let him borrow from Ziga's strength or something. Who knows? Robot Laserbeam 49, The Curtain Rises. It's a fine setup chapter. I'll give it a thumb up. It was enjoyable enough. One Piece 898, I will return. 2 thumbs up. Actually, despite the fact that Sanji didn't really get to do much, the moment where Katakuri's defeat is public knowledge, and then all of the siblings show up to help out, that was really cool. I really enjoyed it. Really did. My Hero Academia 175, morning, the day of. One thumb up. Thought this was a really fun setup chapter. Deku actually getting to stand a chance against the villain that he runs into on the street was really cool. He's run into Shigaraki. He ran into Overhaul. And now he's run into Gentle on the streets. Man, what's going on with that? He needs to be more careful. Noah's Notes 2, Adventures in the Ruins of Minato Mirai. I loved it. Absolutely loving Noah's Notes so far. Looking forward to more. The Promised Neverland 79, everything put into the one shot. 2 thumbs up. Loved this chapter. Loved what it ended with. Really looking forward to it. Loved that we got a different response from Nos than what we expected. That was really cool. Jujutsu Kaisen 3 for myself. Gonna give this one dead even. Still really not feeling it, but there was some cool stuff. And like I said, if some other cool stuff happens in the future, I could come back. It could win me back over. Dr. Stone 50, Humanity's Greatest Weapon. Yeah, this was a really fun chapter. I really liked it. Getting to see the hypocrisy, getting to see Tsukasa's kingdom, getting to see Tsukasa's throne, getting to see Hyoga being cool, and then Senku talking to her cell phones. I mean, and then Taiju Yuzuya. Sure. We Never Learned 55, the express words of X as a diversion. This was a fun chapter. I'll give it a thumb up. I wouldn't, no, you know what? Kurisu confession scene. 2 thumbs up. Fight me. Food Wars 255, Those Who Wander the Wilderness. This was a fun chapter. Getting to see Azami's backstory with Tsukasa and how they actually get along really well, even if I feel like Azami was probably playing him. 1 thumb up. Hunter x Hunter 378, Balance. Hisoka was not in the chapter, so it can't be 2 thumbs up. That's not true. It could still be 2 thumbs up. But although this power is really cool, and we got to see Feitan, Finks, and Nobunaga do some stuff, I really don't like Unyor and Broccoli, so I'm going to give this one a dead even. Black Clover 149, Reincarnation, 2 thumbs up. Absolutely loved this chapter. Absolutely loved it. What it does for Black Clover and where it sets things up. Very excited. Looking forward to more. With that said, I've been Trey. This is the Full Spectrum. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum. Jump has to offer.